Jonas had always felt a deep connection to the wild. For over a decade, he had served as a dedicated ranger in Serengeti National Park, Tanzania, one of Africa's most stunning and biodiverse ecosystems. Each morning, as the golden sunlight spread across the vast plains and herds of wildebeest moved like rivers of life, Jonas reminded himself how lucky he was to be a protector of such natural beauty. Over the years, Jonas had rescued countless injured animals, antelopes trapped in snares, elephants suffering from infected wounds, even cheetah cubs separated from their mothers. Every successful rescue brought a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. To Jonas, this wasn't just a job. It was a calling. He wasn't there just to guard the land, he was there to understand it, to feel it, to answer when it cried for help. One warm afternoon, as the wind whispered through the tall, sun-scorched grasses, Jonas patrolled the Central Plains alone. His olive-green Land Cruiser hummed steadily as it crossed the open savanna. His fellow rangers were off duty that day, so Jonas had taken it upon himself to cover more ground. He squinted toward the horizon. Far ahead, something moved. A small figure trotted uncertainly across the grass. As Jonas approached slowly, he realized it was a lion cub, perhaps 4 or 5 months old. Oddly, the cub wasn't running away as most young predators would when they saw a vehicle. Instead, it approached cautiously but directly, as though it had been waiting. Jonas stopped the vehicle and rolled down the window. The cub halted a few meters away, staring at him with wide, pleading eyes. Then, to his amazement, it rose onto its hind legs, front paws folded slightly together in front of its chest, as though it were begging. For a moment, Jonas didn't move. He had never seen a lion cub act this way. There was no fear in its eyes, only urgency and a strange familiarity. Then he noticed the faint scar on the cub's front leg. Suddenly, he remembered. 3 months ago, Jonas had treated a cub with a wounded paw, brought to the ranger station by an adult lioness who had approached the outpost in a moment of astonishing trust. The cub had been unable to walk properly, and Jonas had treated it, cleaned the wound, and wrapped it with care. He hadn't seen them since. Now here it was again, standing upright, pleading. Jonas got out of the car slowly, scanning the area for signs of the mother lion. The cub whined softly, then turned and began to trot away, pausing occasionally to make sure he was following. Jonas did. They crossed a stretch of golden grass, the sun dipping lower in the sky. After roughly 500 meters, the cub stopped. There, half hidden in the shade of a thorn bush, lay the mother lioness. She groaned in pain, her powerful body weakened. Jonas's heart sank. A large iron snare trap was wrapped tightly around her back leg. The cub nuzzled her and looked back at Jonas, mewling softly, a silent cry for help. Jonas approached slowly, speaking in a calm, even tone. "Easy, girl. I remember you. I'm here now." The lioness raised her head slightly. She didn't growl or bare her teeth. She just looked at him, eyes heavy with pain, but full of recognition. She had brought her cub to Jonas once. Now the cub had returned the favor. He crouched near her, inspecting the trap. It was brutal, thick steel designed for much larger animals, likely set illegally by poachers targeting rhinos or buffalo. It had dug into her flesh, but thankfully hadn't broken the bone. He took a deep breath, braced himself, and worked carefully to loosen the trap. The lioness let out a roar as he pulled it free, blood seeping from the fresh wound. Jonas winced. He had to be fast. He sprinted back to the Land Cruiser, grabbed the first aid kit, and ran back. The cub was licking his mother's face, staying close. Jonas knelt beside her again, wiping the wound gently and applying antiseptic. The lioness flinched but didn't resist. He wrapped the leg with clean gauze, working quickly and efficiently, muttering soft reassurances the whole time. The cub watched intently, tail swishing with nervous energy. When Jonas finished, he sat back, breathing heavily. The bandage was secure, the bleeding mostly under control. For a long moment, none of them moved. Then the lioness raised her head again and looked directly at him. Her eyes, once fierce, now seemed soft, grateful. Jonas smiled. "You'll be all right," he whispered. "You're strong." The lion cub rubbed its face against Jonas's arm before trotting around its mother playfully. Jonas laughed quietly. The stress of the rescue gave way to a warm surge of relief and joy. He picked up the snare and stowed it in the vehicle. These illegal traps were becoming more common, and each one he collected was one less threat to the wildlife he loved. Jonas returned to check the lioness one more time. She had shifted slightly, testing her weight on the injured leg. She was still weak, but she could move. Gently, she stood up. Her bandaged leg trembled but held. The cub yipped with excitement, circling her and brushing against her side. Slowly, cautiously, the pair began to move across the plains. The lioness walked with a limp, but her determination was evident. Jonas stood there, watching as the mother and cub made their way back into the wild, two golden figures fading into the tall grass, swallowed by the glowing Serengeti landscape. He waved at them, even though he knew they wouldn't look back. But the moment stayed with him, carved into his memory like the setting sun over the savannah. Later, back at the ranger station, Jonas recounted the story to his colleagues and to visiting tourists. He told them about the cub's silent plea, the mother's trust, and the powerful bond between humans and the wild. The story spread, touching the hearts of all who heard it. Tourists visiting Serengeti began asking about Jonas, eager to meet the man who had been chosen by a lion cub. Jonas never exaggerated the tale. He always said, "I was just there when nature called for help." Anyone with a heart would have answered. But deep inside, he knew this moment was different. The trust those lions placed in him, not once, but twice, was a sacred gift. And every time he patrolled the vast grasslands after that, Jonas kept an eye out, hoping, just maybe, he'd see the cub again. Or the mother, now healed. Because in the heart of the Serengeti, where silence speaks loudest and eyes can tell stories, Jonas had become more than just a ranger. He had become a guardian, trusted by the wild itself. We appreciate you watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.